Welcome to The Explainer. Look, if you're a focused learner aiming to absolutely conquer Europe's most prestigious fully funded master's scholarship, you're in the exact right place. Today, we're breaking down a complete step-by-step playbook on winning the Erasmus Mundus scholarship for the 2027 intake. We're going to translate raw, on-the-ground experience right into a structured visual guide, giving you the ultimate edge. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this because we really need to start with a serious reality check. 0.5%. Recently, an Erasmus program related to image processing, called IPCV, got around 3,200 applications. And do you know how many spots they actually awarded? Just 15. That is an acceptance rate of roughly 0.5%, which literally makes getting into this specific program mathematically tougher than getting into MIT. Crazy, right?
But don't let that terrify you, because our agenda today is simple, and this structured playbook is going to guide you through everything you need to know to win a spot. First, we'll look at the Erasmus stream. Second, the timeline and application process. Third, mastering your application documents. And finally, the strategies to stand out.
Section 1. The Erasmus Dream, the Prestige and the Reality Check.
So why is everyone fighting tooth and nail for this EU-funded scholarship in the first place? Well, the true prestige of Erasmus Mundus is that it's highly interdisciplinary and wildly international. You don't just go to one country and sit in a single classroom. Nope. Depending on your program, you actually travel and study across up to 4 different European universities. One scholar noted that this mobility let him study in 4 different locations, starting off in Lisbon, Portugal, and it even opened the door to securing a massive global internship at BMW. It's truly a life-changing setup.
Moving on to Section 2, the timeline and application process, mapping the 2027 intake.
Okay, here's your first major wake-up call. Applications for the 2026 intake, they're closed. If you want this, you have to immediately start planning for 2027. Now, there are over 200 Erasmus programs, and they do not open all at once. Usually, early programs will start opening up in August. Then, the main batch opens in September. October is your peak application season, and late additions roll right into November. Because every single program is unique, there's just no one universal deadline.
What this means is you can't just log into some centralized portal and blindly hit apply. You really have to hunt. Your workflow needs to be super methodical. First, visit the official Erasmus Mundus catalog. Second, filter through those 200+ courses to find your highly specific niche. Third, check the individual deadline for that exact course. And finally, apply directly on that specific course's website. It requires total precision.
Now, a massive question always pops up here, especially if you're currently in your 6th or 7th semester of undergrad. You might be thinking, can I apply if I don't even have my final degree yet? And the answer is yes, absolutely. As long as you graduate before the master's program actually starts, so say October 2027, you are completely eligible. You just need what's called a provisional certificate, or in some regions a HOPE certificate. This is basically just an official letter from your university stating your expected graduation date. You pair this with your incomplete transcripts and boom, it becomes your golden ticket to apply early while you're still in your final year.
All right, Section 3. Mastering your application documents, the document arsenal.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this is where the actual battle is fought. Here is your mandatory arsenal. You're going to need your degree or HOPE certificate, your transcripts, an academic CV, a letter of motivation, letters of recommendation, and a residence certificate. Listen closely to this. More than 50 to 60% of applicants get thrown out in the very first round simply because their basic eligibility is flawed or their documents are sloppy. Mastering this arsenal is exactly how you survive that first brutal cut.
Let's laser focus on the letter of motivation for a second. Please, do not write a generic life story. The source material outlines a highly specific 4-paragraph masterclass for your letter. Paragraph 1 should be a highly technical motivation, basically, why this program. Paragraph 2 is your proof of suitability, where you align your specific bachelor's courses and thesis to this master's. Paragraph 3 is program attractions. Mention specific professors and research work from their website. And paragraph 4 covers your future goals after graduation.
And there's a crucial rule for this. Keep your letter strictly between 600 to 700 words. Do not waste precious space saying, "Hi, my name is," or repeating what's already sitting right there in your CV. They know your name. Professors in academia just do not have the time to read 2-page rambling letters. Being concise and highly technical shows true professionalism.
But here's a really fascinating twist from the source. In the world of AI, the letter of recommendation is now more trusted by professors than the letter of motivation.
Think about it. Because of artificial intelligence, academia is getting super skeptical of perfectly polished motivation letters. They want peer verification. They want another academic to actually vouch for you. This makes your recommendation letters arguably the most critical documents in your entire application. They absolutely must be highly specific to your targeted program.
And your CV. Yeah, it needs an upgrade too. A generic CV with basic introductions is basically a fast track to rejection. A winning, targeted academic CV highlights every single relevant semester project, your technical reports, your bachelor's thesis, and specific research experiences. So, whether your background is in business, psychology, or engineering, you have to showcase the actual academic projects you completed.
Moving to Section 4, Strategies to Stand Out, the Winning Edge.
So the crucial point is, how do we pull all of this together to give you the winning edge? Well, it comes down to one critical time frame, 4 to 6 months. That is the exact time it takes to properly prepare a winning document arsenal. You cannot just do this in a weekend. Gathering documents, customizing letters, and securing solid recommendations takes intense, sustained effort.
Furthermore, you have to aggressively target relevance. The source material shares a really powerful success story about a scholar who successfully won spots in 2 different programs, WAVES and SEAS 4.0. How'd they do it? By making sure their bachelor's research was hyper-relevant to the master's. They specifically pitched modules related to vibrations from their undergraduate studies directly into their motivation letter and CV, because it perfectly matched the target programs. Relevance is your greatest leverage.
Let's quickly summarize these insider tactics. First, start a minimum of 6 months early. Second, only target fields highly relevant to your past research. Third, and do not skip this one, get your documents reviewed by seniors or alumni who have actually won the scholarship before. And finally, leverage mentorship platforms or webinars to get direct feedback. Essentially, don't operate in a vacuum.
Getting an Erasmus scholarship isn't just hard, it's tricky. But if you know the tricks, winning isn't just some pipe dream. It really comes down to preparation and strategy. So as you look toward the 2027 intake, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Will you be the applicant who simply applies or the one who strategically wins? The choice and the hard work starts today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy preparing.